Hello, my members. I'm so glad to be back with you. I appreciate you. You know that. And please continue to spread the word about my channel. I am so excited to do this work. I loved trying to deliver good content. It keeps me, sharp and on top of my game as well. So I promised you all that one of the benefits of becoming a member rather than just my regular public tapings is when it gets to that, shamanic priestess side of me, there are things that I will share strictly with members that I might not put out to the public at large. So along those lines, and again, don't forget, I'm always open to, if you have a particular question or interest, if you don't want to post it here on the videos, if it's something more private, please feel free to email me at touchbytarot@gmail.com, and maybe I can do a taping that kind of relates without naming any names that can relate to some of your questions. But part of my desire here is, if you're going to take the time to invest in my channel, I want to make sure that I'm giving you specific content to your interests, your questions, and otherwise I'll just keep going with what spirit gives me. So along those lines, I've been thinking a lot lately around the difference between talismans and amulets. Not sure what happened. Well, first of all, if you know me more than 5 minutes, I'm always loaded down with all sorts of things that are seen and unseen. And it's not so much, I want to address this right off the bat. Very often when we talk about the topic of talismans or amulets, one of the first things that comes to mind is protection, right? Very often I do readings for lots of people who feel like they are quote unquote under attack, or just tired, or battling depression, anxiety, etc. And so they feel like they need some sort of protective mechanisms to help combat that. That's absolutely true, and that's well and good. But for the purposes of what I want to talk to you about today and ask you to consider, protection, you all, doesn't always have to be because we are working to save ourselves from something or protect ourselves from something dangerous. And the reason I say that is because I believe that when we work with talismans or any kind of magical work, even our candles and our altars, etc., our spaces, it's not necessarily because we feel that there are these things happening to us or around us, and so we're kind of trying to shield ourselves from that. For sure, that's a part. I don't want to downplay that. But I also, Spirit was working with me in this topic and saying, remember too that protection is almost like an energy that you build for yourself that is just because it just is. It's not necessarily because you are working against something or feeling like you have to be protected from something. I see it almost as another form of spiritual hygiene related to even physical hygiene. Think about it. Or physical protection, protecting our immunity. Think about COVID, for instance, or just cold and flu season in general. We may take that vitamin C, we may take that zinc, that echinacea. We get those extra supplements, and sometimes we do that just to keep our immune systems boosted, not because we're actually fighting an illness or afraid of catching something. It's not that. It's just saying, hey, I know how my body's good. My body's in good shape. I want to keep it that way, and so I'm going to take this supplement to do that. Think about talismans, from in a spiritual vein. I want you to think about talismans and amulets along those lines as well, okay? Because that way they become more natural, and it takes some of that fright out of it. I think especially when we talk about these sort of magical things, or deeply spiritual things, ritualistic things, we automatically tie it into because something's wrong. Something's wrong, something's after me, there's been some trauma, even past life karma. I gotta fix something, or shield myself from something. And again, Spirit's really working with me to convey with you all as well that protection truly is, we put on sunblock to protect ourselves from the sun. We love the sun, right? We benefit from it. We need that vitamin D, etc. But we also recognize that it can be harmful to our skin, so we put on sunblock protection. Think about your amulets and talismans in that way. Now that I talked about protection, let's get into a little more about the differences between the two. There is an overlay between them both, but to the extent that I've been paying attention to the distinction and wanted to share it with you is, from my understanding, and I love your feedback, amulets, you all, are more around natural materials. They are very often used, as many of you probably know, in more indigenous societies that are connected more with nature. So they may find a piece of, a piece of iron or a bark of a tree or some sort of even flowers, although they may not last, for very long, but they can be used temporarily as an amulet. But if there's more of a natural quality. Shells are another thing that I wrote down. Crystals are another thing. We all know how popular now the bracelets and the beading different beads are, because in a way those are amulets. They do give us a basis of protection, a basis of adding on to our energetic field with their particular quality. I pulled a couple of things that I had lying around on my altar that made me think of amulet medicine. So I think about a peacock feather and how this would be protection in terms of bringing a sense of beauty, protecting my beauty, protecting the beauty of my home, the sanctity of my home, the beauty in life, right? That sort of thing. I pulled out, this was gifted to me, and it is, I don't remember, it is a carved wood ring. And it was created by a shaman and gifted to me. So when I wear this, I would wear this as protection, but protection in terms of the earth, protection from my ancestors, spirit guides who have lived in this earthly realm. Okay, amulets will keep you in touch with an energy of protection that is grounded in the earth. All right, and we'll get to the contrast of that with talismans in a moment. How many of us have seen, worn, known, we have, this is one, like a supposed to be super protection bracelet. So we've got that third eye there with some hematite, some obsidian, and some tiger's eye. But talisman meaning, even in the wording of the seller on Etsy, when I bought this bracelet, it was like super multi protection or something like that, or triple protection, something like that. So again, these are crystals that are made, but they are designed for that protective mechanism. I've got another pendant from my collection that I would share with you. And again, it's that all-seeing eye, like, I see you looking at me, looking at you, but it's reflected right back at you. And so there's that need for, or that sense of protection. And many of us are familiar with the red string bracelets, which often come with the knots, the ties that are also, they're meant to be like seals. They tie in and tighten up the protective quality of them. Okay, so think about that. These are, and I also pulled out one more for you, crystal, the Merkaba, right? That geometric, balancing out everything around us. So that, and I felt like more of an amulet to me, because it is natural. It's quartz crystal. So it's of the earth. It's a natural element. All right. So think about that. Where, in particular, where I wrote this down, Spirit gave me in my meditation this morning, that so when we're talking about protective energy, it often also comes with some cultural symbolism, they said for me to be sure and mention to you. So here, with this, we have very often this is connected to the Kabbalah and mysticism, Hebrew mysticism in that way. But to think about also when amulets, because of their protective quality, can be really useful, you all, when you're doing shadow work. Because shadow work can make us feel a little, not so much threatened, but we know that, it's a heavier energy. It's an energy where we have to have our equilibrium so that we don't go, too far into it. It's not about reliving experiences that created the shadow. It's not about going that far, into our psyche, that traumatized part of our psyche, so that we have to relive it and reshape it and recultivate it and rebirth it in some way. Yes, shadow work can get that deep sometimes, but I'm talking more, spirit gave this whole thing to me more as a it just felt like maintenance. It felt like spiritual maintenance, like no fire alarms ringing or anything like that, but just something that you can do on a practical level, incorporate in your lives, just to keep things at a certain keel. All right. But if you're doing shadow work, and if in fact you're feeling a little trepidatious about that, or a little anxious about that, then that's where amulets can come in handy for you as well, because it gives you, the whole idea is you're holding it, you're invoking it, you're praying with it, you're asking for its essence, what it represents and embodies, to protect you, to be around you, to perform its function for you. And therefore, the work you undertake, that shadow work, doesn't feel as daunting. All right. So now we're going to move on to talismans. And talismans are interesting in that, whereas very often amulets are more, and again, none of this is written in stone. This is not hard and fast, but these are general overviews to help give you some context. So talismans versus the natural world, talismans are created. They are very often man-made, and they are made for a specific magical purpose. They are made and imbued and infused with energy. So with a natural, thing, a crystal, or you don't need to add anything to it. It comes with its energy. You invoke that energy and you use that energy. With a talisman, you create the energy, or the energy has been created by someone. So I have a couple of things here that I've, spirit led me to share with you that are talisman energy for me. Wealth and abundance. You can find these it's like a plastic, but it's gold. It's imbued with a lot of the symbolism of money. And so when it comes to manifestation magic, or wealth magic, abundance magic, you will very often see these in any metaphysical store. You can even get it online through Amazon, anywhere. You can just magic money or things like that, abundance money, etc. But where this is a talisman, clearly it was created. And to use this as a talisman, you could very often, you could roll it up and put it with around a candle, because it's not going to burn. That candle, as long as it has a label around it or something, or you can even put foil around it, something to protect it. But you could put it around a small candle and tape it, light it, and do a financial ritual that way. You could, if you wanted, even cut it and put it in your wallet and carry it in your wallet. You could anoint it with something. But the idea is, it is a talisman because it represents and has been designed and created to represent the invocation. With talismans, you invoke something. It is designed to invoke a deity, an energy, a thing, an outcome, to give you that, the person who wears it or uses it, to give you a benefit. Okay. The amulets, in contrast to that, you don't have to create it. It is already imbued with that energy by virtue of, especially if it's a natural element, by virtue of where it came from. So one, you're kind of in the driver's seat, and two, you're the co-pilot sitting there with nature, with energy, with the divine source, to say, I know that what this is made for, please let it, protect me, be used for me, benefit me. Here you step in more in a magician's role and say, aha, I just made this, and now I'm going to use it for, in this case, more abundance. I have another form of talisman. I got this during one of my travels. It's this beautiful pendant with an image of, a hand-painted image of Hanuman, the god Hanuman, in it. Hanuman having to do with, no, I'm sorry, not Hanuman. Forgive me. Ganesh. Oh, forgive me. And I've got Ganesh up there on the wall. Ganesh, which is a deity, the Hindu deity that removes all obstacles, right? So again, talisman says this is a pendant that was created And when I wear this pendant as a talisman, I'm wearing it because if I am facing something that I think there are obstacles or blocks in my way, I am saying, I don't want that. I need the assistance of, in this case, Ganesh, to remove those blocks for me, or to help me, inspire me, give me the people, the places, the ideas, the energy to eliminate any blocks. In terms of that maintenance, that spiritual maintenance we were talking about, I could wear this not because I'm facing an obstacle or I'm up against the wall or what. I could just wear it as a symbol of my paths are open, my paths are clear. The knowledge that I need. Even when I tape, I don't rehearse. I get on here and ask Spirit to help me do my thing. So it's that clearance, that no obstacles. What I do is going to come with ease and flow. That's what I mean by maintenance. All right. And I have a compass. How many of us have seen the little bracelets? And this one is a compass. Beautiful talisman. It's been created. Its design with that compass is symbolically, you wear this, and it is about it being infused with the energy of knowing my direction, knowing where you're going, knowing the right choices to make, the right path to take the right timing, all of those things that are the compass of life. And I pulled out another one that it actually fell out with that, and I was like, yeah, I got to do it. It's laugh. It's the idea, talking about not always feeling like when you're talking about amulets and talismans, it's because something's wrong, or you got to be ducking and dodging and warding off something. But laugh. I wear this, and when I look at it, it pings me, like, lighten up a little bit, enjoy laughter. We should have a lot of laughter in life, those kinds of things. So that I'm going to pull a couple of oracles for you for the week ahead, just to give you some energy and see some things you might want to look out for. But I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that you will, utilize and employ talismans and amulets, and do a little more research on your own, just to see for yourselves, the definitions that seem to really take place for you. But either way, the idea is there are so many avenues for us, you all, to maintain our energy and not just always feel like we got to be reacting to circumstances and the things around us, or feel as if we always have to go to Spirit because there's an emergency. Red alert, red alert. We are our energy with Spirit, because we are mind, body, spirit, is very much impacted by those little day-to-day things that sometimes we don't, we think it's no big deal. But when we do it consistently, it makes a huge difference. All right? All right. So give you a couple of cards and I'm going to check out for today. All right. So let's see. I open up to receive divine guidance and support to heal my life. There you have it. I open up to receive divine guidance and support to heal my life. And for some of you, that could be, talismans. Those talismans can be healing. Maybe you need, energies and symbolism and elements and textures. Talismans can also be, and amulets for that matter. They can be, woven clothing. Like if I'm thinking about that with the amulet with natural fabric, it could be clothing that has been woven by hand, something that's been knitted or crocheted, or a fabric that's been sewn by hand and given that sort of property. Same thing with talismans. There are all sorts of things. Wind chimes, I wrote down. Wind chimes, all sorts of things, statuary, things that have been created, but they are created with a certain energy, a certain design in mind, okay? So you don't always have to wear them. To put anything on your body is always going to be good. The closer it is to you, the more that it rubs off on your energetic field. But what is around you and in your home is equally important. All right, one more oracle for you. The owl spirit has come. Observation, truth, and discernment. Some of you may already feel sort of tied to the owl, or if not, pay attention to owls that come around you or in your dreams this week. All right. If you see them, if you hear them, there's that magic that comes, and it's giving you that power of observation. Because you know what? And again, you know me and my love in different decks. So that first message was, I open up to receive divine guidance and support to heal my life. Here you have that divine guidance because you're in observation mode. Uh-huh. All right, you all. I hope that was helpful. And again, leave me your comments or feel free to email me, and I'll check back in with you pretty soon. Thank you again for your support. Take good care of yourself.